The drugs you're taking might not be the answer to your pain. Here's why. Hello, I'm Rodger Duckworth, and for the last 30 years, I've helped people, often at the edge of despair, not only manage, but very often overcome their chronic pain, their chronic illness, and their trauma-related issues. Medication, it's wonderful. I'm not knocking it. It has a place. But it's become very much the panacea. It's become the catch-all for how we deal with medicine and healthcare, along with surgery. We need to understand what pain is in order to really understand why medication may or may not work, and then to understand some of the medication which is used and the principles upon which it works. You'll hear me often say, pain is communication. It is a sensation. Now, if you think about your own experiences in life of pain, pain is a very varied, rich kaleidoscope it's a full rainbow of colours and experiences, from sharp to dull to aching to throbbing to moving. There's a particular type of pain which we often see as more autonomic type pain, where it can feel like running water under the skin or creepy crawlies. I mean, it's just sensation. It's very varied. And I think therein lies a clue that actually we've really oversimplified what we think pain is. And much as the advances in pain understanding and physiology have been in the last sort of 10 years, I personally believe we're still missing a lot. Why do I say that? Because everyone's thinking that pain is a neurological phenomenon entirely, and is entirely sort of a brain-based thing. Yes, without a nervous system, we may not feel pain or register it, but then if we didn't have a nervous system, we wouldn't be breathing, and quite frankly, we wouldn't feel anything anyway because we'd be dead. So it's the system. And if we look at communication across the body that we feel through something called interoception, and giving us a sense of what is our body right now. Any change in that sensation is just a change in quality. And sometimes we call it pain because it's unpleasant. We can feel crampy. Now, is that in our stomach? Now, is that pain? Is that an amplification of some signal of what our internal digestive system is meant to be doing, which is saying, right now I feel a little bit nervous and worried because I've got an exam. My stomach is closing down its circulation because I'm going into preparing for an anxiety fight-flight response. Now, if we understand the context of, somehow that understanding can actually down-regulate because we put context to that experience. When we don't understand something, then that can be quite fearful. And then that fear creates a lack of safety in the nervous system, and that will then amplify our perception of that sensation, and it may become something we call pain. So our environment, our experience and our understanding, if we like to understand things, and if we don't understand things as a human being, that's pretty scary to us. But then you see sometimes when we want to understand the sensation and we can't, then that becomes a painful signal. How about we just go, oh, I noticed this sensation. It doesn't mean or have to mean anything right now. It's just a sensation. Can I be with it? And a lot of our work is around helping people to be in contact with their bodies and being in contact with the sensations without necessarily needing to understand or to attach anything to it, because then we don't get caught with the issue of, I don't understand it, oh my goodness, what is this? Or some context that we have of a really common one, of family members who've got a history of cancer, for example, and all of a sudden somebody's got a pain in their stomach, and very swiftly someone's going into, well, this pain hasn't gone for 48 hours, oh my goodness me, I hope this isn't cancer, I hope this isn't something else, or some other kind of IBS or a back pain. So commonly, oh, my father was plagued with back pain. I saw him struggle all his life. Here I am. I've got a pain in my back. And that does have a massive impact because we extrapolate and we superimpose all of those preconceptions, all of those life experiences upon our experience. And then that catastrophizes, and what that does is it creates a big amplification in the signaling within the nervous system. And so we get something that then becomes a more persistent pain or an amplified level of discomfort and sensation, which we now turn into a very big pain. So you see, when we look at that, it might give us some understanding as to why the medication might not work, because you see, that's just suggesting that it's a very linear thing that goes, well, there's a signal which is proportionate to the damage to the tissue, which, by the way, we've just said it might not even be damage to a tissue, that's going to go along a nerve, and it's going to give us an exact amount of pain proportionate to the damage that has been created. Well, we can see now that that's just naive, because it's not necessarily passing straight up a wire like your television signal or something. It's not. This is a network of interreacting experiences and neuronal and biochemical processes in the body. Even the inflammatory marker, the inflammatory component which sits outside the neural synapse, if there's more inflammation because we've got a nervous system that says we're not safe, that's going to prepare to repair, as I call it. We're going to put more inflammatory cytokines and inflammatory chemicals into and around that synaptic cleft, which is going to sensitize that nervous system simply because we've got some other kind of stressful situations going on. So if we just block that, or we try to influence and downregulate that, that's why sometimes anti-inflammatory agents can be very good painkillers, because they're actually reducing the inflammatory amplification upon the synapse. So there's so many processes taking place, not just simply nerve transmission of a specific signal. Otherwise, everyone would have exactly the same experience when they dropped a hammer on their finger. Well, it will be completely different. If you're a concert pianist and you've got a performance coming up soon at the Albert Hall, that's going to likely have a different experience for you than someone else who doesn't have that reliance upon the hands in the same way. So our environment, our world, our past experience, these signals through the fascial connections, the biochemistry, the hormones, all of these things have an impact on the thing that we call pain.